In a quiet valley town tucked between rolling green hills lived a man named Raphael, known everywhere for one unusual habit. He never woke up early. While farmers rushed to their fields before sunrise and shopkeepers prepared their stalls in the cool morning air, Raphael stayed wrapped in his blanket, dreaming peacefully. Some days he woke at 10, some at 11, and some days even later. His wife, Alma, accepted this with patience. Every morning she walked to the marketplace to buy warm bread and strong coffee for him. Don Mateo, the village baker, always smiled and handed her food without asking for payment, because he and Raphael had been friends since they were boys. But one morning, Don Mateo's patience finally broke. "I rise before dawn every day," he muttered to himself. "Yet Raphael sleeps until half the sun has passed the sky, and still eats from my shop for free." So when Alma came for breakfast that day, Mateo said gently but firmly, "Tell your husband that from now on he must help me a little. I'm building a new storeroom behind the bakery. If he carries a few..." He cried. "Alma, those things weigh more than my whole body. And you know what I always say? When blessings are meant for us, they will come on their own. No pushing, no lifting." After breakfast, he set out for his usual walk up the hillside to calm his thoughts. He loved those quiet walks. The drifting clouds, the slow breeze, the birds circling lazily above. But halfway up the hill, Raphael heard panicked shouts behind him. Turning around, he saw a horse charging wildly down the path, its rider struggling desperately to control it. The old man on the horse shouted again, but the animal only ran faster. Without thinking, Raphael stepped forward, grabbed the reins, and somehow brought the horse to a stop. The old man slid down, breathless and pale. His long silver hair glowed in the sunlight. "Young man," he said, "you may live slowly, but your heart moves swiftly. You appeared exactly when I needed help." Raphael smiled shyly. "I just try to rest well, eat well, and trust life," he said. The old man touched his shoulder and whispered, "For your kindness, I will give you something rare, something only destined souls receive." He led Raphael farther up the hill to a massive moss-covered stone. "Under this," he said, "is a gift meant only for you." Raphael knelt, lifted the rock with surprising ease, and found several wooden chests hidden under a bed of leaves. Each chest, for a long moment, Raphael stood frozen, staring at the empty hilltop where the old man had stood just seconds earlier. The wind carried only silence. The sky looked unchanged. Everything felt strangely normal, and yet nothing was normal at all. He opened one chest again, just to be certain. The gold was real. The weight was real. The impossible was real. He filled his pockets with a few coins, gently closed the chests, covered them with leaves, and slid the heavy stone back in place. The brief moment of effort tired him out so completely that he lay beneath a nearby tree and drifted into a peaceful sleep. When he finally woke, the sun had moved across the sky, and his stomach growled louder than the birds above him. "Miracles can wait," he said to himself. "Lunch cannot." As he walked down the hill, the coins in his pocket jingled softly, confirming that the entire experience had not been a dream. That evening, Alma went to the bakery carrying her usual basket. But instead of asking for free food, she placed several gold coins on Don Mateo's counter. "Raphael sends these," she said gently. "We need flour, beans, cheese, and coffee." Don Mateo stared at the coins, unable to speak. His hands trembled. "But how?" he whispered. "Come tomorrow morning," Alma said. "He'll tell you the story." The next day, Mateo listened with wide eyes. He didn't know whether to believe the tale, but the gold in his hand was proof of something extraordinary. "Raphael," he said urgently, "why didn't you bring all the chests home?" Raphael shrugged. "They were heavy," he said. "Only horses could carry them, and I have none. Besides, blessings that belong to us will always find their way home." Mateo tapped his fingers on the table, thinking fast. "I have horses," he said slowly. "Tonight, I'll come to your house, and together we'll bring everything down. We'll share half and half. You take 3 chests and I'll take 3. Raphael agreed easily, but as Matteo walked back to his shop, greed began to whisper. "Why share with a man who sleeps away half the day?" he thought. "He won't use the gold wisely, but I can build a bigger bakery, a better life." That night, while Raphael slept peacefully, Matteo climbed the hill with his workers and horses. Under the moonlight, they moved the stone, swept aside the leaves, and opened every chest. But instead of gold, they found piles of dirt and The next morning, Alma rose early and walked to the door, but it refused to open. Something heavy pressed against it from outside. "Husband," she whispered, "wake up! Something is blocking the door." Half asleep, Raphael pushed the door, but it barely opened a sliver. So he went to the window and tried there. It opened an inch. And suddenly, dozens of golden coins spilled into the room, clattering onto the floor in bright flashes of light. Alma gasped. "Raphael! Someone left treasure outside!" More coins poured in until the floor glowed like sunlight. Raphael rubbed his eyes, still half in a dream. "Perhaps Matteo did come," he said. But even then, the only thing he truly felt was hunger. "All this excitement? How about a tortilla?" Later that morning, Alma walked into the bakery wearing new clothes and holding even more gold. She bought food, spices, blankets, everything they needed. She placed 20 coins on the counter. "We waited for you last night," she told Matteo. "But the blessings arrived through our window this morning. You must have left more than half for us." Matteo felt his heart sink. He knew he had not left any gold. He had taken empty chests home, believing the treasure had disappeared. Now he realized the truth. The gift was meant only for Raphael, and no amount of greed or effort could take it away. Alma watched him silently until he whispered the words Raphael had lived by all his life. When blessings are meant for someone, they come, even if they have to travel through a window. That afternoon, Raphael and Alma enjoyed a feast unlike anything they'd ever tasted. The villagers gathered around, amazed by the miracle. Children played outside, birds danced in the warm sky. And slowly, Raphael's simple wisdom spread across the valley. People began to repeat his words, quietly at first, then proudly. When destiny decides to bless you, it will reach you. No force can stop it. No greed can steal it. In the days that followed, Raphael's unusual good fortune became the talk of every household, market stall, and village path. Children climbed onto rooftops hoping coins would rain through their own windows. Farmers inspected every hillside stone in case another treasure waited beneath it. But nothing else appeared because the valley slowly realized something profound. Raphael's blessing had not come from effort or from searching. It had come from the goodness of his heart. One afternoon, while Raphael rested in his favorite chair overlooking the fields, a group of villagers approached carrying baskets of fruit, jars of honey, cloth, and warm bread. "We've brought gifts," an elderly woman said. "Not because you're wealthy, but because you taught us something we forgot." Raphael raised an eyebrow. "Taught you? I mostly sleep." The crowd laughed warmly. "Yes," she replied, "but you also helped a stranger on a horse. You acted not for reward, but out of kindness. And kindness always returns, sometimes in ways we never expect." Alma welcomed everyone inside, serving lemonade and fresh tortillas. The small house filled with chatter, gratitude, and laughter. And yet Raphael felt shy among all the attention. When the visitors finally left, he stepped outside to breathe the evening air. The valley glowed in soft golden light, peaceful and familiar. But then, from the corner of his eye, Raphael noticed a shadow moving at the top of the hill, the same hill where he had met the old man. The figure looked tall, calm, and unmistakably familiar. Raphael blinked, rubbed his eyes, and looked again. The shadow. That night, Raphael couldn't sleep. Not because he was worried. Raphael rarely worried, but because his mind replayed the image of the old man, the same stranger who had appeared and then disappeared, like mist. He sat by the window, listening to the soft chirping of crickets and the distant hoot of an owl. Alma stirred beside him. "You're awake?" she whispered. "That's new," Raphael smiled. "I'm thinking." "Also new," she teased gently. After a moment, he said, "I saw him. The man with the silver hair." Alma's eyes widened, but she didn't speak. She knew better than to interrupt destiny when it was whispering. The following morning, as the sun painted the valley in gold, Raphael walked up the hill again. Not to find treasure, he had enough of that, but to find answers. Yet when he reached the hilltop, everything looked ordinary. The stone lay untouched. The leaves were still, but the air carried something strange. A warmth, almost like the feeling of a familiar hand resting on his shoulder. Raphael sat on the grass. "Sir," he said softly, "I don't know what your gift truly means. I don't know why you chose me, but I hope I used it well. And if there's more I must learn, I'm listening." For a moment the wind stopped. The entire valley seemed to hold its breath. Then, as gently as a whisper inside the heart, a voice brushed past his ear. "A gift is given not to change a man's life, but to reveal it." Raphael opened his eyes wide. There was no one in sight, yet he felt the truth of the words sink into him like light sinking into water. When Raphael descended the hill, the entire village buzzed with commotion. Dozens of people gathered around the main square, forming a circle around a crying family. The father knelt beside a donkey cart carrying an injured boy whose leg was badly twisted. "We need medicine," the father said, voice breaking. "But the healer is far away, and we have no money." Raphael stepped forward, carrying the calmness of the hillside with him. "How much?" he asked softly. The father looked up, tears streaking his face. 20 gold coins, maybe more." Without hesitation, Raphael placed a pouch filled with coins into the man's hand. The villagers gasped, but Raphael simply smiled. "Go, don't wait." The man tried to kneel in gratitude, but Raphael lifted him gently. "Blessings are only blessings when they keep moving," he said. Within minutes, the cart rolled away down the dusty road. The villagers stared at Raphael, some with admiration, others with disbelief. Matteo, standing at the edge of the crowd, felt a deep longing in his chest. He had once tried to take Raphael's treasure, but now he saw how Raphael used it, freely, fearlessly, without boasting. That evening, Matteo knocked on Raphael's door. His voice trembled. "I wronged you," he confessed. "I tried to steal what was given to you, but you used your blessing for others. Please, forgive me." Raphael looked at his old friend with warm eyes. "Matteo," he said, "blessings that belong to someone cannot be taken, and mistakes cannot stay." Days passed, and Raphael's life changed in ways no treasure could measure. People stopped coming to him for coins. Instead, they came for comfort, advice, or simply to sit with someone who understood the rhythm of life. Children loved him most. They would run to his porch every afternoon to listen to stories about clouds shaped like dragons, rivers that whispered secrets, and stars that blinked messages to anyone patient enough to watch. Alma often stood by the doorway, smiling at how her sleepy husband had become the valley's quiet guide. One evening, as Raphael told a story to the children, a strange glow appeared at the edge of the sky, soft, golden, shimmering like a distant lantern. Raphael felt the same warmth he had sensed on the hill. The old man was near. But instead of fear or confusion, Raphael felt gratitude. He walked to the window and whispered, "Thank you." The glow flickered once like a nod, then faded into the twilight. The children looked up at Raphael. "Who were you talking to?" they asked. Raphael only smiled. "To someone who once stopped by to remind me that destiny doesn't shout. It whispers." As the stars brightened and night settled over the valley, Raphael's simple truth became the valley's greatest wisdom. Blessings meant for us will come, not through struggle, not through greed, but through the quiet doors we leave open in our hearts. And from that day on, whenever gold light shone through a window, people still remembered the story, not of a man who slept late, but of a man who trusted life enough to let miracles find him.